OP World Cup of Sailboarding. The top sailboarders from all over the world are here to compete in the crystal clear waters off of Diamond Head on the island of Oahu.
The OP World Cup of Sailboarding is brought to you by Sunkist Orange Soda. Sunkist is giving out good vibrations. By Dodge, makers of the versatile Dodge Caravan. Dodge is an American revolution. And by K-Pro, the complete small business computer.
Welcome to beautiful Diamond Head, Hawaii, on the island of Oahu for the OP World Cup of Sailboarding. Hello, everyone. I'm David Stanfield. Warm water, good surf, and consistent trade winds make for nearly ideal conditions as an international field of 75 competitors, both men and women professionals from 11 different countries, compete for $35,000 in prize money. Joining me now is Angus Tater, a top Hawaiian sailor by way of England. Angus, tell us about the three disciplines used in World Cup competition.
We have course racing located about a half mile off the Diamond Head Beach, where the competitors are tested on their ability of sailing long race boards up against the wind and on downwind reaches. Then we have the surf slalom, where two buoys are positioned, one inside and one outside the break line. The competitors have to sail a figure-of-8 course, going through the surf 3 times and finishing on the beach. And then finally, we have the most spectacular aspect of the sport, wave performance. Competitors are judged on their wave riding ability, their jumps, jumping the waves going out through the surf, and their transitional maneuvers, their turns inside the surf and onto the waves.
Angus, you're a local here. You know this spot. Do you know the sailors? Who are the best sailors we're going to see?
My money is on Robby Naish. Robby Naish, still the world champion, sails here every day, has some fantastic natural ability, been winning contests since he was 13 years old. He's going to be followed closely by Ken Winner from Maryland and Peter Cabrinha. Peter Cabrinha, another local, one-time surfer, now full-time windsurfer. It's going to be very close between them.
Who are the top Europeans?
European competitors we expect to do well in the racing: Tim Argeson, Thomas Persson, Jürgen Hohenscheid, Bjorn Schrader. We expect those competitors to do well in the course racing and the surf slalom, but not really in the wave performance. They don't have the local knowledge required.
And we've got some beautiful women in competition also.
Yes, we have, and they're headed up by the beautiful Jill Boyer from Kailua, and Jill was the winner of last year's OP Wave Classic. She's closely pursued by Dana Dawes, also of Kailua, and a local Diamond Head sailor, and Suzanne Gadailu from Oahu's North Shore. But in the racing section, we expect the Canadian Annick Graveline to do best, followed possibly by Nathalie Lelievre of France, who's former open class world champion, and also Nancy Johnson from United States East Coast.
There's a handheld anemometer which measures the wind force and speed. Oh, and a beautiful catch heading downwind towards Ala Moana. Angus, why such high minimum wind speeds?
Dave, these high-performance boards need at least 15 knots of wind to plane.
And Angus, several Europeans did quite well in wave performance, making it as far as the quarterfinals.
Raphael Saul from France adapted very well to the Hawaiian conditions and put on a superb performance. He's working a wave downwind to the left of Diamond Head here. Charlie Mesmer, former open-class world champion, did well in the racing in the slalom, but was let down by his lack of wave knowledge.
And 3-year pro Alan Cadiz of Hawaii, in an earlier heat, attempted what many considered the ultimate maneuver, the loop.
But unfortunately, in this event, you have to complete it to get points for it, as which I did, and I pulled it off in my heat, about 95% of it, but didn't complete it, so I didn't get points for it and lost my heat.
Allen goes towards the wave at about 20 miles an hour and uses the speed upon takeoff to spin him all the way around, and he doesn't quite make it. And looking at the water angle, we can see he rotates all the way around, but ends up on landing, heading up into the wind and falling off on his back.
Now we're set to go. Hawaiians Richard White and Peter Cabrinha meet in this wave performance semifinal.
Dave, it'll be interesting to see how Richard White performs in this small wave conditions at Diamond Head. He's used to the larger, more powerful waves of the north shore of Oahu.
There's Richard White, sail number 23. And there's Peter Cabrinha. Cabrinha is one of the stars of this sport with years of surfing experience.
At least 10 years of surfing experience and 7 years of windsurfing experience, 5 of which are at Diamond Head. He is a pioneer of this spot, has superb local knowledge.
Okay, we've got the start of the heat now. There's Richard White heading out up and over some white water.
The heats are 10 minutes duration. The competitors are judged on their jumps, their maneuvers on the waves, and their transitions inside the waves. And Peter Cabrinha is pumping his sail, and he gets the first jump of the heat. His jumps score good points.
And this is Richard White now. Richard with his transition.
And Richard goes for a jibe on the wave and doesn't make it. He caught a head of gust at the wrong time. It's very important not to fall in during a wave performance contest. You're going to waste time and lose points.
This is Peter Cabrinha, 22 years old. Lots of speed here as he approaches a wave.
And Peter executes a beautiful upside-down jump, which will score well.
Oh, the crowd loved that.
And heading out for the next wave, he may well make a turn on it. Yes, he's jibing on the face of the wave. And now we can expect him to go off to the right of the picture. A bottom turn, cut back at the lip, beautiful slashing cut back, another bottom turn, and another off the lip. It's these maneuvers strung together that score the points.
3-year pro Peter Cabrinha. Let's look back and see his jump.
He pumps the sail, heads up into the wind, kicks the tail of the board into the wind, hangs underneath the sail, and parachutes down for a safe landing.
Big air. And this is Richard White now heading out. He's got to make up some time. He's already fallen in once, and Peter seems to be getting the jumps.
Yes, Peter is, and he's getting the good waves as well. Richard needs to get a couple of more good waves under his belt if he's going to come close to Peter.
And here's his approach on a wave.
And he gets a nice upside-down jump, but doesn't make the landing. I think the reason for that is he ran out of wind whilst he was airborne. There was only a small gust of wind in front of the wave.
25-year-old Richard White. Let's take a look back and see that jump one more time, Angus.
Richard pumps his sail to get speed, leaves the wave, gets upside down, but his sail fails to inflate the apex and he falls in on his back. There wasn't sufficient wind in the air to support him. He water starts back on and sails away for a jibe on the next wave.
And earlier in the week, we visited with Richard, who lives on the other side of the island, what they call the North Shore, where some of the biggest rideable surf in the world pounds coral reefs every winter. And looking up the beach from Richard's front yard, you've got Cami Land, Sunset Point, and backyards. And Richard and his friends sailboard these spots when the waves are huge.
I'd say the biggest waves have been maybe over 2 times the mast. So that's about maybe 30, 35-foot faces. It's no problem until you start getting caught in the impact zone or have to swim in or you make a mistake. You know, if you make a mistake, it's all over. I worry about, making the mistakes because, or being unlucky, getting caught inside when a set's coming in with no wind, it's all over. It's not the equipment that's going to get drilled, it's going to be your life. You have to hold your breath.
Also, during the course of our conversation, Richard talked about the advantages of World Cup competition and how it promotes the sport of sailboarding.
And that brings together everybody in the world. The Europeans have a chance because of the course racing. The Hawaiians have a chance because of their wave riding. And with the 3 events in the circuit, the wave riding, the course racing, and the slalom, it keeps the interest up for everybody and for the sponsors. So that's the way it's going to be going.
The World Cup is quite the show, and right now Richard White right in on a nice wave, great bottom turn, and careens up through the lip of the wave.
And there's Robby Naish on the board tuning his rig. Robby will be against the winner of this heat. He's so far undefeated. And Peter Cabrinha still is getting the best waves. Here he's on a good-sized overhead set, going for his bottom turn off the lip, cutting back, throwing some spray in the air. The judges like to see lots of water being thrown around by the boards.
Peter Cabrinha, very aggressive. Beautiful surfer. Let's take a look back and see that drop in and bottom turn one more time.
Peter drops down the face of the wave and makes a turn at the bottom to redirect the board up to the lip or crest of the wave, or the off the lip, or top turn as it's called.
And Angus, on that replay, I saw Richard get a great jump.
He got a little bit of air there, but I don't think it's going to be enough to put him out in front. Peter has just got too many good waves.
Oh, great re-entry, Peter Cabrinha. And that ends the heat. Now an international group of judges will tally up the subjective scores. Don't go away. We'll be right back with the OP World Cup of Sailboarding. And there you see, the incredible Peter Cabrinha has defeated Richard White, and he's going to meet the defending world champion Robby Naish. That's going to be a great matchup. Oh, it's perfect conditions right now here at Diamond Head. A beautiful 82 degrees. The water temperature's in the upper 70s, and we're about ready to go with the women's semifinals. There's Danny Merkel, our water photographer, and he's heading out, getting ready for that big matchup.
We see Junle Boyer against Julie DeWerd. Julie's from Maui, and she's used to the big waves of the north shore of Maui. And it's a different tack. They'll ride the waves in the opposite direction to Diamond Head. So I'm not sure if these conditions are quite to Julie's liking. Jill being a local at Diamond Head, I think she has a distinct advantage. And here she's pumping the sail, going out through the surf, trying to get some air, trying to get a jump, looking for a steep part of the wave. Oh, and a beautiful tip-touching mule kick upside-down jump.
And this is Julie DeWerd on the inside, 26 years old. Her transition, very nice.
That was a smooth transition. It's going to be close between Julie and Jill. And going back to a replay of Jill's upside-down jump, you can see the tip of her mast touches the wave, and she still makes it. That was really good sailing there.
Back to the live action. This is the defending champion here, 22-year-old Jill Boyer from Kailua, Oahu. And she's on another nice wave.
Jill's doing really well in this heat. She seems to be picking up the good waves. And there's Julie looking for a set to jump. Nice little bit of air from Julie, but she falls in on her back. That's going to lose her points. Jill getting a head dip. All these flashy little maneuvers help score extra points and impress the judges, and that head dip was right in front of the judges' stand.
And that's the end of the heat, and the judges are going to tabulate the scores right there. There's Pete Cabrinha on the left, Robby Naish on the right, getting ready for their final matchup. And there you have it. Jill Boyer defeats Julie DeWerd, and she's going to go on to meet Dana Dawes, and that should be a great one, Angus. And while the competitors are getting ready for the finals, let's take a look back and see what happened in course racing earlier in the week.
Yes, the triangle racing is located a half-mile off the beach at Diamond Head. It is the most demanding aspect overall of the windsurfing of the three disciplines. The racers utilize long boards between 12 and 13 feet and have to sail a course which tests their upwind performance and their performance off the wind on reaches at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour. Tremendous tactical ability comes into play. It's important you get a good start, you read the wind correctly, as the upwind leg is a matter of a zigzag course which consists of tacks. It's impossible to sail closer than 45 degrees from the wind, and the green flag is up, signaling the start of the race.
Why are the Europeans considered so good in course racing?
The Europeans do well in course racing because the wind is predominantly light in Europe, and there are a number of inland lakes. You can't wave ride, so all you can do is race. So they get lots of practice.
It's very popular to sail the lakes over there.
It is, yes, and in fact on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, for instance at the Lake Garda in Italy, it's possible to walk across almost on the boards. We can get as many as 5,000 boards in a 2 square mile area.
This is very exciting out here. Lots of speed, lots of strength involved.
Yeah, well, the racers are on the upwind leg of the course where it's imperative they keep their body locked into the same position, the rig raked well back. They've got to get as close to the 45-degree optimum angle as they can. Normally they might be sailing 50, 55 degrees off the wind. They're going to sail a series of zigzag tacks up to the first buoy.
From the bluff, you must use binoculars to get a good view, or you've got to rent a helicopter.
Yeah, the helicopter view will give you an idea of the speed involved. The upwind leg is the slowest of the lot, but still the sailors are reaching speeds of up to 14, maybe even 15 knots. as you can see by the speed wakes behind them.
Is sailboarding the fastest sailing boat in the world?
Sailboard is the fastest sailing boat in the world. Fred Hayward of Maui has reached a speed in excess of 35 miles an hour on a flat course in England.
And capable of much more, I assume.
Yes, we think it might be capable of even speeds of over 40 miles an hour.
Very fast, very exciting. It's like water skiing.
Yet windsurfing has very, very few dangers.
Around that first mark, Angus.
Yeah, they're rounding the upwind mark. Going to bear away onto the reach, which is the fastest point of sailing downwind towards the right-hand side of the picture. The wind is blowing from left to right of the picture. There are a number of rules and tactics which take place around these marks. There are rights of way, as on the open road.
And rounding that mark, the world champion Robby Naish, white sail, orange board, and he picks up his speed and disappears from the pack.
Most of the sailors now are using very high technology rigs. Ken Winner is utilizing a carbon fiber reinforced wing mast, which costs in excess of $2,000, together with a very expensive high-tech, fully battened sail. There's a lot of research and development going into the racing equipment, and that research and development goes back to the consumer through the board manufacturer in their production boards.
Out of the three events, course racing is very exciting, but it's removed from the spectators because it's in the open ocean.
Yes, it is a problem having it so far out. Certainly the wave riding is the visually most spectacular.
And there's Robby Naish, who basically dominates every sailing event he's ever in.
It's Robby Naish is the complete all-round sailor. He seems to be 10% above everyone else, everything he does. There's Ken Winner sailing along with his high-tech wing mast and full batten sail.
And there's the checkered flag and your top two winners. Robby Naish coming in first. Ken Winner, second place from Annapolis, Maryland. And the Europeans, Tim Augustin from Denmark. Fourth place, Bjorn Schroeder from Germany. The women's portion of course racing followed in the wake of the men's competition. And 19-year-old Annick Graveline, three-time Canadian national champion, dominated.
When 2 or 3 people come at the mark, it can be, you don't know whether you should cut in, and it's kind of risky. But in my case, this race, I was just alone the whole time, so I didn't have too much to worry about.
And the result, Annick Graveline from Canada coming in first. Nathalie Lelievre from France coming in second, and Nathalie's only 17 years old. Nancy Johnson from the United States in third place. There's another Frenchman, Eric Thiamet, walking up the beach. Angus, it's great having the Europeans here in the islands. Truly, the international crossroads of the world. Let's take a break and see what's happening down on Waikiki. The first thing one notices when setting foot on world-famous Waikiki Beach is that breathtaking view of Diamond Head. On second glance, one sees a very large group of people having a real good time. We talked with some of the tourists and one local resident who told us what they loved about Waikiki.
The food and luxury living and the beach. Everything. I love it.
It's beautiful here almost every day of the year. It's just gorgeous. This day that we have today is probably the same 365 days a year. It's just totally gorgeous all the time. The mystery of the island and the beautiful women. There is beautiful women.
for more windsurfing at Diamond Head.
Good, 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 good vibration. Sun surfing excitation. Hard for sun kiss, good vibration. Bubbly on jubilation. Sun kiss on soda taste sensation. Sun kiss is giving out good vibration. Bubbly on jubilation. Sun kiss is giving out good vibration.
As chairman of a $3 billion retail business, I know how important low prices are. But if the dollar sign is powerful, so is...
Angus, we're set for the women's wave performance final. Jill Boyer going against Dana Dawes. Who's got the advantage here?
It's very difficult to say. Jill, last year's winner, has great local knowledge, as does Dana Dawes. They've both been practicing in ideal conditions for the last 6 months. I really wouldn't like to put my money on either one of them.
How about the local conditions here? Is the wind blowing strong enough for them to perform?
It couldn't be much better. We have ideal conditions out there for the final.
This should be great. Jill and Dana, both 22 years old, both from Kailua, but Dana has got about 3 more years of sailing experience, Angus.
Yeah, she's got more sailing experience than Jill, and also surfing. She's been surfing since about age 10.
That's Dana, US 50 on her sail.
And I think it's Dana's wave knowledge which is going to help her through in these heats. And there she is jiving onto a nice little wave.
How about these famous coral reefs and the shelves that the waves break on? Does Dana know those a little better?
No, both the girls know the reef just as well, but I think it's Dana's wave knowledge, instinct of what to do on the wave in any given time that's going to see her through. And here she is working the wave upwind.
And she's hooked into her harness there. We can see a little strap there, so that takes a lot of the pressure off of holding that sail against the wind.
Yeah, the girls don't hook into the harness when they're riding a wave, only usually when they're going out through the surf, and it takes all the strain off their arms. And Dana's going for a transitional jibe on the inside.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, a smooth jibe that'll pick up good points, not making any mistakes. It's vitally important also they make no mistakes in this contest. And Jill powering over a large wall of soup. Luckily, there was sufficient wind for her to get over it cleanly.
Yeah, high-performance boards resembling surfboards here. Oh, Jill with a great jump.
Yes, there was very little wind indeed, and she was really clutching at a straw there, trying to get airborne off that wave. And Dana getting a very nice jump on the outside.
Let's see that one more time. Dana Dawes with a high-flying jump.
Yes, she landed that very nicely. That'll score good points.
Yes, and Dana scored well in the women's surf slalom finals, which were held earlier. But she was not able to beat this girl, Nathalie Lelievre. And she's a seasoned world traveler, but this is her first visit to Hawaii. And Angus, she began sailing at the age of 13.
Yes, Nathalie has extensive flat water racing experience. And she certainly showed the other girls the way to go in this race. She's using one of the new fully battened wing-type sails.
And it seems to be a larger sail than her competitors had. After her big win, we got a chance to talk with her with the help of interpreter Hervé Haas.
Je croyais surtout que j'étais impressionnée par les filles qui naviguaient ici un peu, surtout dans les vagues. Mais j'étais vraiment content de gagner les in and out parce que je croyais pas vraiment faire ça.
And before coming here, she was really impressed by the fame which came from the girls who were riding the waves, and she felt pretty anxious about it. But now she feels better. She's improving actually, and she's very glad.
Our interpreter, Hervé Haas, helping us out there. So Nathalie, first place. Julie DeWerd coming in second. Dana Dawes, another high-scoring event for her, coming in third.
And looking again at Dana's jump, she lands it beautifully flat, stays up, keeps her body out of the water and sails on smoothly.
And we're back to the action now. Angus, the length of the ride, did that help out on the points?
There's certainly the length of the ride, there are a number of transitions on the wave, the number of maneuvers, bottom turns, off the lips, and Dana here is working the wave upwind. It's important to stay up in the contest area. If you move too far out of the way of the view of the judges, they could get distracted and you're going to lose points. Dana coming into the inside, pumping the sail to get extra speed prior to a transition, which is just a standard conventional jibe.
Small, high-performance wave boards, just similar to surfboards.
Yes, these high-performance sailboards are very short in length, and they do not have much flotation. If the wind drops below a 5-knot minimum, they'll actually sink. So you've got to keep them moving on a continuous plane. Jill working off a good wave downwind. It seems that Dana has got the best wave so far.
Jill is the defending champion here at Diamond Head, winning last year's event.
I think Dana's got to do more than just beat her. Dana's got to come well out in front. It's always difficult when you're up against the champion.
And she makes her inside transition and heads back out. And when she's heading out, she's looking for a wave to either jump or ride in, correct?
No, she's looking for a wave to jump. And she's always pumping the sail for extra speed. And Dana picks up a really good-sized wave on the outside.
High-scoring wave for Dana Dawes.
She certainly seems to be getting the luck and picking out the bigger waves of the set so far. The waves in Hawaii come in sets of normally between 3 and 4 waves, and Dana seems to be finding them. Yeah, she's looking very smooth indeed, and still picking out the bigger set waves. She's pumping to get on the inside here to get extra speed for her transition, and the smooth duck jibe. That'll score extra points over the conventional jibe. And that'll certainly go down well with the judges, and she pumps her sail to get extra speed over the soup, and a little hop on the inside. They all add up. It's like money in the bank. Another nice little hop.
Both Jill and Dana heading out. And when they're going out, they're looking for a wave to pick up, aren't they?
Yeah, they're always looking for waves. They're jibing in and out, and Jill is going to be going for some airtime here. Nice jump. She lands perfectly. That'll score her good points. Jill is characterized by a superb mule kick type jumps. Mule kick is the action of kicking the tail of the board into the wind.
Let's look at that jump one more time.
She sails up the face of the water, tail of the board into the wind. She parachutes down underneath the sail for a perfect landing.
A beautiful jump by Jill Boyer. And Angus, the heat has ended, and while we wait for the results, let's take a look around the beautiful island of Oahu.
Hier auf dem OP Hawaiian Windsurfing World Cup auf der Insel Oahu.
Dana, what was your edge?
I think I got more jumps than her, and I lucked out at the beginning of the heat. The nicer waves came in, and so I caught those right at the beginning, and throughout the rest of the heat, neither of us caught very many waves, so I really lucked out in the timing on that.
Going into that final, did Jill have any momentum being the defending champion here? Did she have a little going for her there?
Well, I think so. It always, gives you an extra boost when someone's going, Jill Boyer, the defending champion. I'm sure for anyone, it gives you an extra boost. Maybe some more added pressure, too. I don't know. It could work both ways.
Well, congratulations, Dana. Now you are the defending champion. Coming in second, Jill Boyer. And two girls from Maui, Julie DeWerd and Debbie Brown, third and fourth place. There you have the defending world champion, Robby Naish, and the defending champion here.
Robby's going to go against Peter Cabrinha for the final. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. The wind conditions aren't what these sailors would prefer. They're rather light, so both sailors have opted to use larger, floatier boards. In light winds, you can get by with a short board, which is sinks very fast if the wind dies, yet it turns well.
These are the pros. I noticed that Peter has a watch on, and he set his watch.
Yeah, the horn signaling the start of the race will be shining very soon indeed, and it's vital that they pick up either a point-scoring wave riding or a jump immediately after the horn goes. I think Peter Cabrinha has opted to use rather too long of a board and might have trouble making the tight, snappy maneuvers the judges are looking for. And the race has started, and Robby's going out looking for some jumps.
Lots of speed.
Beautiful jump. He pumps the sail really to get that extra speed so he can get height and distance.
Let's take a look at that one more time.
So he's pumping the sail to pick up speed, tucks the board up underneath his body, gets beautiful carry.
The famous Robby Naish style.
And doing a tight, snappy jibe on the wave, which is going to work off to the right of the picture. And a bottom turn, re-entry off the lip.
Oh, is he aggressive?
It really is.
He is used to winning everything he enters.
In fact, Robby is surprisingly still hooked into the harness. Obviously, he's conserving his energy, working the wave upwind at this point to get back into the middle of the contest area. Peter Cabrinha on a good-sized wave on the outside, probably 12 feet high on the face.
Biggest wave of the day.
Probably the biggest one I've seen. On the aerial off the lip, he projected his board out through the lip of the wave just before it broke. And looking again at that wave, his bottom turn is off the lip. Coming back for another bottom turn. You can see him shifting his weight on the tail block of the board. Back up to the top of the wave. Is redirecting through the lip of the wave and into the air and down to the bottom. Takes perfect timing to execute those maneuvers.
A real high-risk maneuver, but hopefully the judges like it, and he wants points out of that.
Yeah, Peter Cabrinha's really got to pull up the stops against Robby Naish. And Robby getting a beautiful backside off the lip.
This is your world champion, 21 years old. He's the man to beat.
As I say, Robby is the man to beat, and another great re-entry. Peter cannot afford to hold back. He can't afford to be conservative in any way at all if he's going to beat Robby. And Robby is neither being conservative also. He's sailing beautifully. There's a beautiful slashing maneuver. That extra spray which is being thrown up when he does the cutback will score extra points. The judges are impressed, and a smooth duck jibe.
Robby's very fast and flashy, as well as being aggressive in all three disciplines, which includes surf slalom. And there was quite an upset there.
Yes, everyone expected Robby to win, and in fact, as you'll see later, Ken Winner came through in flashing style. Ken from Annapolis, Maryland, unseeded Robby in quite good conditions. The wind was very gusty and rather let off on the inside. Ken Winner has used the biggest sail, is able to use it proficiently. The Ken is the white sail with the red back panel and the black circular logo next to the head, and here he is pumping over a wave, moving out in front.
There's Robby Naish. Onto the inside, though.
On the inside, there's Richard White from the North Shore, jiding very wide around the mark, and Ken Winner coming in tight. Ken's going to overtake him on this leg.
He's just a little higher upwind?
He is, yes. The slalom course is set on a reaching pattern, i.e. the sailor sail exactly across or perpendicular to the wind, which is not quite, but almost the fastest point of sailing.
There's the outside mark, and Ken Winner now has a pretty comfortable lead. There's Richard White, sail number 23, the blue one. Johan Salen from Stockholm, Sweden. There's Robby Naish. Now, he was in fourth there, wasn't he?
Yeah, Robby was fourth at the final mark, but made it through to second place in the end. He's pumping, all the sailors keeping pumping, because the wind is really not as strong as they would like. It's barely above the minimum of 18 knots.
The speed they carry.
It looks as though Ken Winner is carrying a bigger sail than all the other competitors, and this is going to help him considerably maintain that speed on the reach, which is all important.
And he makes it through the impact zone where the waves are breaking.
Yeah, and Ken's using a double concave design board. The bottom has twin concave hulls, which channels air underneath, and Ken Winner coming in for the victory in the slalom.
All the equipment we see is prototype.
All prototype, which hopefully in the future will be included by the manufacturers in their production range. Robby Naish shooting in towards the finish. It looks as though he might be able to jump the wave he's coming up on the back of now. He's got tremendous speed. Beautiful jump coming in.
Up and over the wave like a flying wing.
Yeah, Robby Naish can get air off anything, and he's using one of the new full batten design sails, which basically assumes a wing profile. It's very efficient.
After his victory, we got a chance to talk with Ken Winner.
I was overpowered about half the race, and I had to pump through a couple walls and to get over the backs of a couple of waves, but for the most part I thought it was pretty windy.
Did you have competition that put pressure on you, and did you have to have tactics with certain people?
I actually avoided looking back because I didn't want to feel like I was going to have pressure on me at my next jibe. I just concentrated on what I was doing and let the rest of them worry about themselves.
And to mind your own business. Don't look back. Race theory of Ken Winter paid off. And here are the results. Don't go away. We've got the main event still in progress from Hawaii. Back to the men's waves final in the water. Peter Cabrinha going against Robby Naish.
And it looks as though Robby still has the edge over Peter. I think Peter's board is just not working well for him, and Robby getting another beautiful vertical re-entry off the white water. Yes, Peter Cabrinha's caught a nice wave, and there's a surfer in front of him who shouldn't really be in the contest area, but he's not getting in the wave. Peter working off down towards the right. And he flips the sail, does a semi-duck jibe, and now is sailing clew first with the sail backwards. A difficult maneuver. Not really very practical, but it will score extra points. Looks flashy.
Well, that's what Peter needs, to score extra points.
He really does. He's slashing around. He's not bringing the board around as snappily as Robby Naish. He has to avoid a surfer paddling out. Looking around at Robby. There's not much time left in the contest. Peter's got to find a good wave if he's going to do well.
And what's this?
This is a helicopter tack. Oh, and he nearly falls it. He just makes it in. Very impressive. And as you can see, there's very little wind on the inside. He's hardly moving. And Robby pumping really hard to get some air off this wave. Oh, and a beautiful tabletop twisting upside down jump.
Oh, and other than the loop attempts, that was definitely the jump of the day.
And looking at the replay of it, he pumps the sail to get that extra speed he needs, kicks the board up over his head and twists it around, and comes down for a tail-first landing. He probably did fall in on his butt, but water started very quickly, and jibing onto another wave here. He's working it upwind, stay in the middle of the contest area, and preparing for his bottom turn, back up to the lip, another patented Robby Naish re-entry.
Absolutely fantastic. Is he exciting?
He really is. He is almost in a class of his own. I think he really does have the edge over Peter on his wave selection. Really nice cutback, almost getting covered up there, cutting back to go upwind.
So much competition experience he has.
And now he's taking one hand off the boom. He's hooked into the harness, and he tried to grab Peter Cabrinha's boom. There's a lot of camaraderie between these two sailors. They're in the same team. They've known each other since they were... I think they even grew up together in Kailua.
Robby Naish and Pete Cabrinha putting on a great show here at Diamond Head.
And Peter Cabrinha coming for a big wave. And he went for a loop. I can't believe it. That wave had almost closed out, and he lost the rig downwind. And looking at the replay, pumps the sail to get that extra speed, comes all the way around, but just let the rig go too far downwind. It didn't manage to pull it over and didn't make it.
And shots like that really look great from the water. Here's our water cinematographer, Dan Merkel. Let's take a look at some of his work.
Seldom stumble, never crumble, try to tumble, might rumble. Feel the stinging, I've been giving, never ending, unrelenting. Heartbreak steering, always feeling.
look at the men's wave performance finals, and Robby Naish continues to rip these waves apart.
Even on this small, inside, head-high waves, he still continues. Oh, and he nearly fell off on his back. The skegs of the board lost their grip, and he just managed to make that maneuver.
Naish not letting up one bit, and Peter Cabrinha's got to get a little aggressive here.
Yes, he's got another small wave on the inside, but just the good set waves don't seem to have been coming through the Peter, and there he is, getting 5 feet through 5 toes near to the nose. It's called hanging 5, and Robby Naish pumping, trying to get air off another wave coming on the inside, a waist-high wave. Oh, and a beautiful mule kick.
A great upside-down jump. Let's take a look at that one more time.
So he's pumping the sail to get extra speed, crouches his body down, kicks the tail of the board into the wind. Beautiful flat tail first landing. He'll score good points.
He's not on much of a wave here.
Yep. Oh, another beautiful cutback.
But the wave's building. He knows how to read the waves fairly well.
Yeah, he'll get every single last turn in on the wave. To most other competitors, oh, and a backside re-entry, a really tricky maneuver. And working the wave upwind again to stay in the contest area. Peter Cabrinha did a valiant effort with that loop. I don't think it's going to be enough for him there.
Peter Cabrinha. He has got some tough competition. Look at that. One-handed duck jibe?
Yeah, that was a one-handed duck jibe, a very tricky maneuver, and right in front of the judges' stands. They'll love that. They'll give him extra points, no doubt at all. Peter pumping, trying to get some air, last-minute air. Nice little jump, a few extra points, but he didn't make it. He fell in, and he's got a water start back on. He's going to lose out on that.
He does that quickly.
You see, the wind just isn't there. You can see him doing a balancing act. It's just not strong enough for them.
Crowd's getting a little anxious.
Yeah, it's very close indeed, but I still think Robby might well have the edge on the waves. Peter jiving onto another nice peak coming through. He doesn't seem to have got the really big waves except for that one right at the beginning of the heat.
They've got a big clear window in their sail so they can look down the line.
Yeah, visibility is very important indeed, otherwise you're going to get a few hundred tons of water landing on your head if you don't judge the wave correctly.
Oh, the speed these guys carry across the face of the wave.
Peter's working the wave upwind again to keep in the contest there, and the wind really is light. I don't really think it would have been to Robby's or Peter's liking.
This is Robby Naish.
Another good-sized wave and a re-entry through the lip.
And a great way to finish the heat for Robby Naish. Let's take a look one more time at Peter Cabrinha's impressive loop attempt. Oh my. Don't go away. The World Cup from Hawaii continues.
Stride, etc., etc., etc.
Oh. How much is that $1,000 computer?
$4,400.
How much is that $1,400 computer?
$3,900. No, Max. The 1,400 is $4,800. The 600 is $3,900.
I thought the 1,100 was $4,800 and the 500 was $3,900.
You stand corrected.
Some computer companies give you a lot of options.
In which KNBC and national syndicators of sports programs bring you special events from the world of sports. In the weeks to come on Sportscope, you'll see exciting auto racing, more world-class karate, NABC college basketball, and thrilling water sports like hydroplanes and board sailing, spectacular motocross action, PGA golf tournaments, and many other exciting sporting events. Be sure to stay tuned later this evening for all of the day's sports scores and highlights on News 4 LA.
The OP World Cup of Sailboarding has been brought to you by Sunkist Orange Soda. Sunkist is giving out good vibrations. By Dodge, makers of the versatile Dodge Caravan. Dodge is an American revolution. And by K-Pro, the complete small business computer.
Robby Naish wins the men's wave event with a polished performance over Peter Cabrinha. And the final standings are Robby Naish in first place, Peter Cabrinha second, Richard White third, and Raphael Saul from France. Raphael, used to the flat water and light wind of France, doing very well for his first visit to Hawaii.
Indeed, Raphael was very impressive. And your winner overall, Robby Naish, let's get his comments.
There's waves and there's wind, and that equals jumps, and if you don't get either of those, there's not much you can do about it. And so considering what I had to work with, I thought I did okay.
Okay, indeed. Winning overall in all three disciplines, Robby Naish first, Ken Winter second, Tim Augustin from Denmark third, Richard White from the United States fourth, and Raphael Saul from France a fifth place.
And in the overall women's standings, DeWerd of Maui in first place, Nathalie Lelievre of France in second, Dawes from the United States third, Annick Graveline of Canada in fourth place.
An incredible athlete, Robby Naish, is 21 years old, a 4-year pro, and the world champion. Angus, your thoughts?
Robby has proved to us all, Dave, that he is the #1 overall all-round sailor. He doesn't make mistakes. He selects the right equipment. He works the wave to the max, getting every last turn in on the face.
No doubt, Angus. An amazing performance by champion Robby Naish. The OP World Cup of Sailboarding has been an incredible event. And on behalf of Angus Chater and the entire Dynocom crew, I'm David Stanfield. From beautiful Hawaii, aloha.